Marshall Tuck has been on the wrong side of every bad so-called education reform idea that's ever come down the pike. He was a cheerleader for the unsuccessful Vergara lawsuit, which would have stripped educators from their basic due process rights, taken experience out of the equation when districts go through layoffs, would have extended the probationary period, and would have placed student test scores above all else in teacher evaluations. We know Tuck's idea of school reform is blame teachers first. And despite his claims of being an effective leader, according to the educators in his schools, he was an utter failure during his time at Green Dot and when he headed up the Partnership for Los Angeles Schools. And yet, he continues to mislead voters. He touts those stints as successes when in truth he actually made things worse. When he was there, the college readiness at Green Dot declined, and his fiscal mismanagement cost taxpayers thousands of dollars. And many of Tech's partnership schools performed worse than similar LA schools. And his dismal leadership resulted in a landslide vote of no confidence from the teachers. But those failures, they didn't stop his political ambition. And they didn't stop him from becoming the darling of the corporate charter school industry. Because after losing his race 4 years ago for SPI, his rich funders are actually doubling down. His uber wealthy backers are the same people who support and fund the Betsy DeVos and her destructive agenda, like billionaire Arthur Rock, whose charter chain is supported by Trump and DeVos. He's already donated $3 million. And then there's the usual cast of fools, Eli Broad and Reed Hastings and the Walton family, who've given another $10 million. And they're spending that money because they know they'll get an even bigger return on their investment if Tuck is elected. They want to get richer, and they want more power. Tuck supports their agenda of widespread expansion of corporate charter schools and opposes efforts to hold them to the same standards of accountability and transparency as other public schools. Tuck's vision for public education would drain resources from our neighborhood schools and line the pockets of wealthy school privatizers and leave even more students victim of the fraud, abuse, and sudden closures that have already plagued some California charters. As education chief of the largest state in this nation, Tuck would have the pulpit to advance his privatizers' national agenda and further erode the rights of educators. So in these final weeks before the election, the Tuck supporters have become desperate and frankly vicious. They've run attack ads against Tony that are absolute lies. In fact, on one ad, they said Tony was sued by the ACLU. You know what the truth? Tony has a 100% record with the ACLU, who wrote, "Thank you again, Tony Thurmond, for being a Civil Rights and Liberties Act champion." So the outcome of this race, it's up to us. The office of the SPI has a direct impact on everything we do in our classrooms and on our campuses. And so we must do everything we can here in the home stretch.